They told us to give a disclaimer. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, owners, sponsorships, or employees of thereof. Pretty much, if you're soft, don't listen to this podcast. One thing I pride myself on is just being the same and trying to look out for my folks along the way.
Like, even with all these, big things happening, like, you still mad humble, and you still, like, you have enough clout now where you could easily be like, I'm not fucking with this, I'm not fucking with that.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers, it's on. Unrestricted Podcast listeners, thank you so much for clicking play. Because of you, those numbers are going up, and up. I really do appreciate the support. As you know, we did start the Patreon. The Patreon is doing phenomenal. Like, first week, we dropped the Patreon. We had 25 subscribers. Now, 15 of those subscribers subscribe to a certain tier. So we are actually making some money. We're actually paid to keep the lights on, and it's all because of you. Now, money's not the only way that you can support this podcast. If you want to help, but I know holidays just happen. You got families. If you want to just share, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about this show, that helps as well. Now, today I got a very special guest across from me, somebody that, as we're talking, man, we got damn near 20 years.
Yes, that's some years, man.
Of experience.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And this is the first time that we're sitting down, we're talking like this. And I'm excited for you to be here. I got Smaqs here in the building.
Absolutely. Your boy, we here.
Yeah, man. Man, taking it back, the way I know about you is from Adrenaline Junkies.
Yeah.
You were in a rap group back in the day.
Not too many people know that, man.
Really?
It's been so long. Yeah, man. I want to say not too many people know that because it's been a really long time. You know what I mean? And the ones that do know most of them are not in the music game anymore, right? You got Mr. V, you got Chino for real, and then they're still doing their thing. You know what I mean? So it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's that's one thing that in our community is like a lot of the guys, the new guys, they don't know the old guys.
Yeah, they don't.
And they'll look at you and they'll be like, oh, this dude's reformed his life from prison.
Yep.
He's doing his podcast and he's all about reform and change and helping out the community. I'm like, yeah, but do you know him from the Adrenaline Junkies?
Yeah. That's real.
Do you remember him about talking about selling rocks?
Yeah, you ain't lying. I mean, and we came out here in 2007, you know what I mean? Me and my brothers, and that was the Adrenaline Junkies. We were the junkies, and we've been doing music. I've been doing music damn near my whole life, dog. I've been writing music. I started recording when I was like, I want to say 17.
What inspired the music? Was music in the family?
Well, my mom plays instruments, right? And we were raised in church too. We had with my parents were reformed gang members. You know what I mean? They gave their life to God at a young age. We from California, so I came up around a lot of performers. And when I say performers, I say pastors. I say men that are on stage. You know what I mean? Performing, whether it's music, singing gospel music, or just preaching, you know what I mean? That's another form of performing. You know what I mean? So I think it just kind of came natural. And then at that time, when we were teenagers, gangster rap was prevalent, Tupac, Ice Cube, that era, the late 90s, early 90s, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, freestyling was a thing. So I don't know, dude. I honestly don't remember when I just started freestyling. I just knew I could. And my little brother, Ruckus. A lot of people know him as Ruckus. His little Oosh now. He was one of the junkies too, and he was like, "Hey man, we gotta go record some music. Why don't we try to turn this into something?" And that was how it started. You know what I mean?
Are you originally from? Is it San Diego?
San Diego.
So you're originally from San Diego. Parents were reformed gang members.
Yeah.
What brought you guys to Utah?
So, dude, I caught a case in a different state, and while I was incarcerated out there, my mom ended up moving out here. Her and my dad ended up separated. She ended up coming out here. She has family out here. I'm half Polynesian, right? I'm half Samoan, so I got a lot of Mormons in my family, and they pretty much live out here, obviously. So my mom came out here, and she's like, "Hey man, when you get out, son, just come out here. You know what I mean? You'll do fine. The cops won't find you. The rent is cheap." So in 2007, I ended up out here. That's what initially brought me out here. And at that time, when I came out here, before I got out. My little brother was already out here. Do you know Spinal? Remember Spinal? He was one of the junkies too.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We've been. Sure. Spinal was out here. My cousin Spines was out here, and they had been living out here because their mom and dad is big in the Mormon religion. So they've been out here for a minute, and so we ended up coming out here, and I was out here for a little bit. I ended up getting extradited back to the state that I caught my case.
Was it California?
No, it was a different state. I really don't want to mention the state.
Gotcha.
But by then, I already had my family kind of established a little bit here. Like, dude, man, it's cheap to live here. Great place to raise kids. I had 2 kids at the time, me and my wife, and we ended up staying. And that's how my family migrated out here. As far as my initial family, my brothers and my mom and my sisters and my wife and my kids, that's how we migrated out here to Utah.
Mom's is Samoan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mom's is Samoan, pops is Mexican.
Okay.
Yep.
So, man, I see you ride for the Samoans a little harder than the Mexicans.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm over here like, man, our Mexican side over here, we need to embrace
my
Smaqs.
wife. Yeah, you ain't lying. My wife, she messes with me about that a lot. She's like, come on, man, you gotta post some Mexican stuff.
Hey, come on, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, so, hey, and I'm proud of being Mexican. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna say that I'm not, right? You know what I mean? It's just when you're when you're a multicultural individual, right? It's especially growing up. It's a natural thing that you get more love from one side of your family. At least for myself, that's what I experienced, right?
I think especially because my dad's black, my mom's Mexican. I grew up with my dad. I grew up on the black side, so I don't really know the Mexican side, but I definitely embrace my Mexican side.
Absolutely.
But you're right. When you have a multicultural family, I think the hardest thing is when that family splits up.
Yeah, man.
So when your mom and your dad split up, that means, who you riding with?
Yeah.
In your case, it was mom's.
Mom's for sure. And it's a thing like, they separated when I was already adult, right? But and like you said, you know what I mean? You're just a little bit closer to one side of the family. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of my Mexican side. I just wasn't around them as often as I was my other side. You know what I mean? We were always around that side. And it's not their fault. You know what I mean? And not only that, and being that too, in San Diego, I grew up in some of the hoods that I grew up in were like at one point predominantly Mexican, right? You know what I mean? But I didn't walk like them. I didn't talk like them. You know what I mean? I wasn't an essay. You know what I mean? So even in high school, it was a thing. You know what I mean? We beefing with, I don't even want to say Mexicans. We beefing with the essays. You know what I mean? Because I had long hair. They got bald heads. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean? So
is there a lot of Usos out there in San Diego at the time?
So it's not like Utah. So Utah, you could throw a rock and hit a Polynesian, right? Out here is they're just widespread, and which is a great thing. You know what I mean? In San Diego, I'm gonna speak for San Diego. There, you got pockets. You know what I mean? Pockets of families that live in certain neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And they all know all the polys know the different families because it's not as spread out like it is out here. But there is a lot in California, just not as much as far as they're not as condensed, right? In across a wide range of area, it's more spread out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
One thing that really caught my eye with you is on TikTok. You really, I want to say embrace, but you really put people on game about Polynesian culture and more specifically Samoan culture.
Absolutely.
You mentioned like everybody's using the chihu now.
Yeah.
Everybody, but do you know where it comes from?
Yeah, man.
So what does it mean to be Samoan, and what does culture mean to you?
I feel like, culture means to me, man, the Samoan culture is built on respect, you know what I mean? Respect for the elders, respect for your family. You obviously have love. A culture for me is just, living who you are and living in your truth. Because culture, with the Samoan culture, you got a lot of traditional things, man. You got a lot of traditional, I want to say, habits and traditional behaviors that a lot of Samoans practice, you know what I mean? But the culture is is changing as the world is changing. You know what I mean? And for myself, I try to teach my kids as much as I can about Samoan words. I don't speak Samoan fluently. I understand it better than I speak it. You know what I mean? But culture to me is about love, respect, and teaching our young ones. You know what I mean? Some of the traditions that you held on to, and that's what I do for myself. You know what I mean? What was the other question? There was another question there.
Well, you answered it. What does culture mean to you?
Okay, cool.
And specifically being Samoan.
Yeah.
And I think you answered it.
For sure.
I think culture and what you just mentioned is like self-respect, honor. Man. I always talk about how when my kids leave the house, I tell them like, you're not only representing you, you're representing us, your family. Your name, our name is on your back when you leave this house.
Absolutely.
How are you going to carry it?
I love that, man.
You know what I mean? Are you going to carry it with honor? Are you going to carry it with disrespect?
Yeah.
Are you going to land yourself in a place where you're going to dishonor our family? Because, and my dad taught me this. He's like, dog, why'd you do this? I never raised you like this.
Yeah.
When I was a knucklehead, when we're teenagers and we're dumb and we're doing stupid stuff, it's like, yeah, I look back, I'm like, yeah, Dad, you didn't teach me that. What the hell am I doing? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I feel like culturally it bleeds through everybody that I've talked to. It bleeds in every single culture.
Absolutely.
Which I think is really dope.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what I mean? And I'm Samoan, I'm half Mexican, and those are two different cultures, but I'm also teaching my kids a culture of positivity, you know what I mean? Because negativity is a culture as well. There's just different types of influences that are influencing people's minds. So I try my best to teach them to be positive. Speaking about the kids, when I drop them off at school, I'm always like, what does integrity mean? What does integrity mean? And my kids will tell me back, doing the right thing even when no one's around. You know what I mean? And that's super important for me because we're in a world that can be so negative, bro, and also have such negative influences on our children. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to raise them in a house, in a culture of positivity. Obviously, and my kids are a lot more mixed than I am. My wife is Puerto Rican and Portuguese, so my kids are Samoan, Mexican, Portuguese, and Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So there's a big mixture there. You know what I mean? So we don't necessarily just focus on the ethnicity of our culture. Okay, you guys are young brown individuals, right? Obviously, right? In a predominantly white state, right? You know what I mean? We don't look down we don't look down on the next man. We don't look down on white people. We don't try to treat them any different. You know what I mean? You got to treat people the way you want to be treated, you know what I mean, which is super important. But we also teach our kids to not be subject or be a little bit more aware of people's lightweight racism, dog. You know what I mean? Because that's super important that we teach our kids. It's like, man, you deserve to be in any room you step in, whether it's full of white people, whether it's full of black people, no matter what areas you are, you deserve to be there. And you claim that area, you claim that spot, you shine your light. You know what I mean? So I think that's super important to be, excuse me, to be raising our kids like that, man, especially us, man, with brown kids in a predominantly white neighborhood. It's easy for them to get lost in not knowing their culture or not knowing what it is to be a melanated young individual, you know what I mean, around a predominantly, non-melanated people, you know what I mean, which is something that, it's just a real thing. I remember my daughter, I was in prison and my wife was talking to me on the phone and she's like, man, baby came to me and she was like, Mom, ain't I white? And my wife was like, what? It threw my wife off, dog. She was like 4 or 5 years old, that has a bunch of girls friends that are obviously white because they're predominantly white, and so I don't know how the conversation of color came up around some kids that age, and I guess they told her, you're brown, and my daughter was like, no, I'm not, I'm white too, I'm white. She didn't really know that she was not a white, she wasn't like them as far as color wise, right? And so my wife had a whole explanation with her about, man, baby, you're a young young brown princess. Well, technically due to Puerto Rican, so there's some
Yeah,
African blood. There's some Afro-Latino blood in there. So she's like, man, you're a young brown, beautiful young child. You know what I mean? And they're young white children. You guys just have different colors. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's just a different world we're coming up in. You know, it's a lot different from, you know, back in the junkie days for sure, man. I mean, it's not too off different, but yeah.
Were you a father back then?
Yeah, bro.
So how old your oldest?
My oldest is 27. 27.
Did you learn all this the way that you father now, a parent now? Did you learn this recently, or is this something that you've always tried to?
You know, dude, my when I met my wife, dog, the woman that I'm with, the woman of my children, we've been together over 20 years, and it's like, yeah, for sure, and
salute to wifey.
Yeah, you know, she's always been a great woman, a great mother, and also a good partner. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot from her as far as being a father. You know, to learn, I should say, learning to be a parent. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, man, it's just I want to say I've always been like that. I struggled a bit, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, when we was out there doing the music, you know, a lot of you know, rappers nowadays, you know what I mean? They're showing guns and, like, you know, talking all this, selling dope and all that. But, you know, back in the days, like now, we rappers really did what they was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We out there really selling drugs. We out there really carrying guns, you know, shootouts, high speed chases, and that's why. You know, the junkies was like, you know, in and out. You know, oh damn, they're here killing it. Next thing you know, they gone. You know what I mean? So even though I was dealing with all that, I still felt like I held on to being a father. You know what I mean? As best that I could. So
yeah. I mean,
man.
super young too, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we have to give ourselves a little bit of, I guess, empathy.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We are super hard on ourselves, you know, and sometimes I have to sit back and be like, yo, dad tried his best. You know, dad did his best that day. You know what I mean? How can I change tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something as a parent you just have to learn.
Absolutely.
Just got to give it your best effort and give yourself a little grace.
Through trial and error, for sure, man.
Where did the name Adrenaline Junkies come from? Now, obviously, I know you were quick.
Yeah.
And fast. You guys are always going.
Yeah. So we gotta there's a group called Adrenaline Brothers. And those are my uncles, and they're from Santa Ana, California, dog. And they've been in the rap game like with the Dog Pound, with Booyah Tribe, and they've been my uncle Chief, my uncle Biggs, that's the name, Chief and Biggs, and they got a group. It's a real raw hip hop group back in the day that they've kind of carried on throughout the years was Adrenaline Brothers. And, you know, we're obviously their nephews, right? So, you know, I was like, dude, man, we need to just do a young branch off of our uncles because they've been in the rap game. That, you know, their name holds weight in a lot of spaces in the underground rap world out there. You know what I mean? With Corrupt, like Corrupt used to sleep on their floor. You know what I mean? They were really in the mix. You know what I mean? So that's where Adrenaline Junkies came from.
See, in 2025, can you use that name now?
Probably not, man. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, bro. So it's funny. It's funny because, you know, like I said, man, you know, we were doing the music. You know, we were still out there in the street life though, and our thing was like we real life gangsters before rappers. You know what I mean? We just were gangsters who happened to know how to rap. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you listen to our music, you hear a lot about a lot about drug moving. You hear a lot about a street life, the urban life. You know what I mean? Of a young man trying to come up and trying to get his family rich in some way, shape, or form in the music. Mm-hmm. But really, with the things we was doing at the same time, it was like we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. You know what I mean? And yeah, bro, like a lot of people don't know this, man, but we almost got signed to Grand Hustle. You know, KJ? Yeah. KJ Solane, he managed us way back then. KJ, he used to have this talent company called New Talent Entertainment.
Yeah, I remember New Talent.
And yeah, so he had a buddy that was an A&R through Grand Hustle, and it took us a while. But, you know, we did the whole press kit. We did everything there. We was running the gamut. We, you know, their A&R got a hold of our press kit. You know what I mean? And they were getting ready to fly us out there. getting ready to fly us out to Atlanta to work on a deal and just get us in the studio. You know what I mean? And it never fell through, you know, because situations with T.I. catching cases. I think he caught a case, if I remember right.
Probably a gun case.
Yeah, it was a gun case or something. He caught a case, and so we got put on the back burner because, from what I understood from when Lane, KJ would tell us from back in the day, he was like, man, he's the type that not many serious moves are being made if he's not around. You know what I mean? So a lot of it came to a halt, and you know what I mean. So at that time, it was like, damn, we worked so hard. We sending these press kits to Capitol Records, Universal Records, all these different record companies, you know, Aftermath Records, you know, just shooting our press kit everywhere. Like, bro, you know, we got the stage presence. A lot of people who out there, they know the Junkies was them ones. Mm-hmm. It don't matter where you were in Salt Lake. If you was in the underground hip hop scene, you knew about the Junkies because we was killing it on stage. The stage presence was on point. The rhymes were on point. The beats were sick. We was just killing it. You know what I mean?
One thing that always stood out about you guys is that you guys sounded different. There was like a South twang to you guys. Yeah. Where did the sound come from? So
the South influence came from, you know, myself, because where I did time before I came out here in Utah was in the South. I did in the South. It's predominantly African American. You know, I was out there slinging dope. You know, out there hustling. Out there, you know, I was out there for that purpose of moving weight and being out there. I caught that case. You know, there was a large influence because I was around there. I think I did like 9 months, but that 8 months was there was a prevalent influence as far as the South music, the South slangs, those, you know what I mean, the South lingo, the twang. So you could kind of hear it, especially when I first got out and I met Joe Beats, man. You know Joe, right? Yeah. So Joe got a lot of our earlier music.
To this
day, I feel like he sent me some a long time when I got out of prison. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if he still has it. But he has a lot of songs that when you listen to my music, it's just like boom, boom. You could hear that boy, I say boy a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. That South influence in my lingo, man. So that's where it came from. Just being out there, and you know, I remember being on the yard. Them fools be beating on the walls, and I used to blow their minds, bro, because they never been around someone like me. I wasn't black, you know what I mean? And they're like, damn, this fool can rap. That's crazy.
What's a Polynesian?
Yeah, like that's exactly what they would say. Like, what's a Polynesian? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's where that South came from. And then when I came out to Utah and we started doing music, you know, I picked a lot of the beats. You know, I picked a lot of the beats. They did too, but I would pick a lot of beats that I thought was like, you know, I'm not finna get out here and rap. We ain't gonna rap about, you know, being rich. We ain't gonna rap about already having money, already making. Can I adjust this, bro?
Yeah, do whatever you need.
I just want to mess. I don't want to feel like I'm leaning over, dog. But you know what I mean? It's like we're gonna make music about what we do. We're from the slums, bro. We're from Southeast San Diego, dog. We're poor. You know what I mean? What we gonna look like out here rapping about cars and money that we don't got? You know what I mean? We're gonna rap about, you know, poverty. We're gonna rap about coming up. So if you listen to a lot of our music, and a lot of people can listen to it now, it's I think I sent you the Reverb Nation Junkie music. There's a lot of songs that you could play. Like every time somebody hears some songs like that, they're like, dude, that sounds like you made it yesterday. Like that music is just like timeless and it's real. You could literally sit there and listen to that music and you just hear a lot of what we were going through. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's funny, man, because I used to write songs like that, bro. And just it came to a point where I had a crazy mind block when it comes to writing music. And I still do. I still can't write a song if my life depending on it, dog. You know
really?
What I mean? Yeah.
What was the last song that you wrote?
The last song that I did was Major Way. That song on the top of the. I've been in it for a minute, gotta get it in a major way. Yeah. So I did that song after Jax died. So Jax was my brother, my younger brother. He was one of the junkies too. He was the tall one with the red hair. If people we did a show at It was Shady Records did a showcase out here in, I don't know if that's the Complex. I think it might be the Complex. It's that little spot that was across the street from the Greyhound station.
Oh, Sound.
Sound. There you go, Club Sound. I think it was like 2010. But yeah, man, a lot of people could see him like, dude, they remember Jax, my brother, man. But he passed away, dog. He passed away. Yeah, he passed away in 2011. And dude, I'll never forget, dog, just that whole situation, dealing with him, you know, going into a coma and passing. It was just rough, dog. You know what I mean? So I think that flipped the switch for me, because we weren't all together. You know what I mean? He was gone. There was a major player on our team that was gone. You know what I mean? And it's like a basketball team. You got, you know, the Lakers dream team, Shaq, Kobe, and all the, you know, you got the whole squad. You know what I mean? If one's not there, they're not functioning right. They're not playing right. And you know, when we lost him, to me, it was a major loss, because not only was he my brother, he was my best friend. You know what I mean? And he came out here too because I was out here. So once he passed, it's just, I don't know, something happened to me psychologically, bro. I just couldn't write a song. I struggled through that last song, Major Way. You know what I mean? I really, really struggled through it. Like, it took me a while to just try to get it out of what I was trying to articulate, how I was feeling. You know what I mean?
Did you ever write about him?
In that song.
So that was the last time that you wrote about him?
That was the last time I wrote a song about him. I've been going hard. Yeah, I've been on my grind. I'm taking handouts from no one. He said that all the time. That's my little brother Jax. He used to say, man, we taking handouts from nobody. You know what I mean? So that was the last time I did a song that I mentioned him. I never wrote a song like specifically about him. It's just, it was too hard, dog. And I was in such a messed up headspace after he went away. I got real deep in my addiction, you know. And that's the thing too with the junkies, right? Adrenaline junkies, right? It's like, we're doing music, bro, but we're all drug addicts. Every single one of us. Not, people don't really know it, but you know, there was a lot of stuff at shows that, like, you know, it was due to us being addicts. You know what I mean? We popping off, fighting in the club at a show, on stage dropping guns. You know what I mean? Guns falling on stage. You know what I mean? It was just, we were living that life. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know this, but you know, we were struggling. You know, we were struggling with incarceration, with addiction, with poverty, you know, all these different things that people don't realize, because when they see rappers, they see, oh, man, especially if they make it, like, man, bro, that fool's so talented. He's so good. He's so this, which we got a lot of. But you don't know I'm struggling to feed my family. You don't know that I got a pocket full of rocks right now, pocket full of pills or something that I'm trying to sell while I'm doing shows right here, so I can make this bread to feed my kids, to make this doing music worthwhile. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand that's the life that I come from. That's the life that the junkies came from. And it's funny, because I think about manifestation now, and I think about the power of words, and I think about, you know, the name that we chose. Yeah. I'm like, adrenaline junkies, and then we dropped the adrenaline and then called ourselves junkies. Yep. And eventually became real junkies. Don't get me wrong, we weren't like your crackheads, but we was addicts, bro. We was addicts. I mean, you couldn't tell from looking at us, but our immediate family and our loved ones, they knew, man, our nephew's struggling, my husband's struggling, my kids are struggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is why it surprises me that you didn't take that as inspiration to write new music. Yeah. Because typically, like, an artist will write what they're living, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Write the passing of your brother.
Yep.
Write what you're dealing with addiction. Write about your incarceration in the South.
Absolutely.
You know, write about these things. Tell these stories. And because you have a big story.
Absolutely.
It feels like you just changed that way of instead of your music, now you're talking like this. You know what I mean?
For sure. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, I don't write music now, but I write presentations. Like, you know, like, I do a lot of prison work. I do a lot of motivational speaking. So that right there, bro, that flows out of me. And I think that's where my writing, you know, kind of metamorphosized, right? It morphed into something different. It elevated, my son used to always watch Pokemon, bro. And you know, what's that called when they evolve, right? So my writing evolved, bro. It went from, you know, being able to write about that, but now depending on who's asking me to speak, bro, I write these crazy, just heartfelt, tear-jerking, motivational speeches, right? And I think that's my theory, that my writing just kind of evolved to where, writing about songs like that is just a lower form of me. It's the lower version of myself. That person, Smaqs, that was, in the Junkies, doing music, writing music, trying to promote his music, doing shows. Even though that was a cool version of myself, it's a lower version of myself. You know what I mean? To the man that I am now, where I try to piece together pieces, bro, that are gonna spark change and spark growth and to where it's gonna cause some influence in the minds of people that need to hear it. You know what I mean? Because like you said, I got a story and I'm just leveraging it. It's all I'm doing. I'm trying to put myself in a position where this story could benefit someone. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the writing is at for me, man. So, but as far as writing music, my music days are gone.
Yeah, you retired?
Yeah, we retired. Don't get me wrong. I try to freestyle a few times here and there, but I can still spit. But my son's like, come on, Dad, you be rapping that same rap all the time. That's what he tells me. Like, yeah, that's the same one. I'll say it word for word with you.
I wonder if Jay-Z goes back to old, like he has that one verse. Like Game did. Remember how Game used the same verse for like 10 different freestyles?
You have to.
Red Room, White House, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so one thing that has been reoccurring in this story is incarceration.
Yeah.
When did you, because it sounded like you were incarcerated at a very young age. So what was your first introduction to being incarcerated?
Yeah, so my first introduction into being incarcerated was juvenile hall. You know what I mean? And it's like, ditching school, getting in trouble, having weapons at school. So I caught juvenile cases at a young age. I'll do, like I said, dude, we come from a life of, not having much. You know what I mean? So when you don't have much, someone like myself, you're going to do what it takes to get it. So especially, and if you don't have money, there's only other means of getting it, right? I don't have a job, I'm young. So I would still, do stuff like that. So I would catch cases like that. And eventually, that, it landed me in juvenile hall. I would go to juvenile hall. So that was my first experience,
And that was in San Diego?
San Diego.
What was, is your parents, are they reformed at this time? Are they?
Yeah, they reformed. That did. So my parents gave their life to God. Like I want to say when I was like, as far as I can remember, bro. Honestly,
so
you know what I mean.
You grew up going to church with your parents.
Yeah, grew up going to church with my parents, but that was probably the only thing we did was go to church. Like you go to church, right? But once I'm home, like my mom they weren't the type to be like, hey, you got to be home. I mean, they probably did their best, but we out there in the street. All my younger brothers, we out there in Southeast San Diego in the street, but we have to get home in time for church. You know what I mean? And eventually we got to a point to where like we 15 now. My mom was like, bro, we ain't going to be forcing y'all to go to church. You guys want to go to church? You guys can. If not, that's on you guys. God knows you guys' heart. You guys are at the point where it's up to you now. We can't bring you to heaven, so to speak, right? So, yeah, man. And so I experienced juvenile hall, and juvenile hall was rough too, man. Because back in those days, bro, I don't know how juvenile hall is now, but as soon as you get up in there, bro, you fighting. You got to, you got all the different hoods in there, especially coming like I said, like myself. I'm coming in there with long hair. I'm not an SA. It's like, fool, so where you from, Holmes? You know what I mean? Dealing with that. So that was my first experience with incarceration. I want to say.
What year or how old are you at this time?
I want to say I was like 15, 16 years old.
Okay. So are you anywhere near high school? Are you going to school?
Well, so that was another thing too why they put me in juvenile hall, because I didn't go to school. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to school. I went all the way up to my freshman year. In my freshman year, I went to Sweetwater High School in National City, in San Diego, which is a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. They got a gang out there, a lot of old gangs out there called Old Town National City. You know what I mean? The homie Eddie Boy from he got a big following on TikTok too. We're kind of close now. He's from Block Boys, but that was the school that I went to. And it was a good school, you know what I mean? It was a real good school. Now, when I had to move out of that city and we moved back to Southeast, and Southeast is a more poverty-stricken neighborhood, right? And so they moved me to Gompers High School in Southeast, and Gompers to me was like bro, it reminded me of a prison, honestly. Wow. You know what I mean? It's like you in there, everybody's banging on each other, everybody's fighting, people shooting, stabbings, you know what I mean? So once I got to that school, I was like, yeah, I'm ditching. We finna be chilling and smoking and drinking. I'm not worried about this school, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that kind of was with my education. I dropped out at that like freshman year, you know what I mean?
So when do you end up going to adult jail?
My first adult situation was in San Diego County. Them Sean John velour sweatsuits came out. Remember those?
Yep.
Them velours, Sean John sweatsuits, bro. And when they came out, I remember we was at the mall. We was at Horton Plaza. Me and my cousin Sino. Shout out to my cousin Sino, man, from the HI. But we was at the mall. He's like, man, bro, I like those shoes too. So I said, look, man, we just finna walk in here and just grab them and walk out. That's it. Ain't no running. We just gonna grab them and walk out. Grabbed them, walked out. We walk out, bro. We hit the because it's an outdoor mall. We hit the sidewalk. People passing by, and all I see is this big old dude, bro. I'm talking just 350, bro. Just woof, boom, sacked me, dog. Tackled me to the ground. And I remember I was on the ground and this fool was sitting on me. He was sitting on me, dog. So I'm like on the ground. I looked up and I see my cousin coming out. And right when he saw me, he was about to drop the sweater and run at the dude. And I just had my hand up. I was like, nah, just dip. And he just kind of dipped and got away. And that was my first case I caught, man, in San Diego County, bro. But it was the beginning of a long in and out of jail, eventually to prison, you know what I mean?
You look at Smaqs in 2025, he got the muscles, he's brolic. He wasn't back in the day.
Absolutely not.
He was skinny.
Yeah, bro, like 150.
Sweated, dripping wet. So you were stealing. What landed you in prison?
I caught so now in 2007, right? Fast forward 2007, we in Utah, you know, and like I said, we doing the music. But we also selling drugs. We also moving weight. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know this, bro. But there's some names. You know, I probably won't say the names.
No, we won't.
Yeah, there's some names in the hip hop scene at that time that are rappers that were certified CIs, and I already knew it.
Really?
Yeah, bro. And I'm just saying. You know, I even when I got my house.
Have they been on this podcast?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But when they raided, so I got my house raided in 2010 out here in West Valley. We used to live in West Valley, and those names, those two individuals that I'm talking about, you know, they had hand into my arrest. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, bro, and it's crazy, and it's a dude and his brother. But anyways, they did.
So hold on, rewind. 2010. So from 2007 to 2010, you're not on legal papers here in Salt Lake or in Utah. Are you getting in trouble during this time?
No, I think I caught my first. I may have, but I caught my first major case in 2010.
Okay, so here. 2010, you get picked up. During this time, is there like surveillance? Do you have anything on like?
Okay, so look, they were surveillance. They were watching me. So it's funny because when they raided my house in 2010, right? I was just talking to my wife about it the other day because we got pulled over by a police that was a Salt Lake City police in West Valley. So when the car got behind me, I already knew what time it was. I was like, damn, there's something's up because that's a Salt Lake police. They can't pull me over here. We in West Valley. You know what I mean? Anyways, they pulled me over. And a lot of this stuff is coming back, you know, recently because I've been subpoenaing all my grammar requests because I'm working on getting my record pardoned. But so I kind of been reading through it.
Real quick. For the people that don't know, what's a grammar request? What is
so this? A grammar request is like the court dockets, the affidavits, just all the court papers, the proceedings, the cases that they built against me. You know, I'm getting all those papers, which I already have now. You know what I mean? Because I'm working on getting my record not expunged, pardoned, because I don't fall under the criteria of being expunged because of my major case. You got to have certain cases to be able to get expunged. But I'm working with Clean Slate Utah, Destiny Garcia, man. Shout out to Destiny, man. She's a great woman. I met her at the prison on one of my prison works, and she was like, look, man, I know we can't get you expunged, but what you're doing right now in the community and the things you've done, we can for sure get you pardoned. So I'm working on that. You know, I think
that's good information for people to know. Because there's people out there with records that just think that, hey, it's a lost cause.
No, you for sure could get your records expunged or pardoned depending on the situation. You know what I mean? CleanSlateUtah.org. You guys tap in. You know what I mean? And just Destiny Garcia. You can even ask for her specifically. She's a very hard worker. She'll get it done. You know what I mean? So
okay, so you're working on getting your grammar papers.
Yeah. So 2010. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. 2010. So 2010 was the first major case, and the cops pulled me over, and I had just I was about to move a boat. I was about to move this boat, and those names that I'm talking about, they were giving me the runaround, and I already caught on. I was like, homie, this is suspect. I said, hey, bro, don't call my phone no more, homie.
You were gonna sell the boat to them?
To them. I was like, bro, don't call my phone no more. Anyway, so they it actually, I think it wasn't even a boat. It was damn near a yacht. It was damn near a yacht. But so I got nervous, and I went and ducked them off, right? Went and put them up, and so now I'm on my way back to my house. I'm turning in to get to my house, bro, and boop, they got behind me. The cop said, hey, don't get out the car. But I said, what'd I do, officer? He said, you didn't do anything, but the detective's gonna come talk to you. I was like, ooh, boom, detective came. He said, hey, look, man, we've been watching your house. We've been watching you. He pointed at my house because I could see my house from down the street. We were down the street, and there was all the ski masks. They were like, look, they're going to kick in your door right now. So you need to start talking, or we're going to take your cars, we're going to take your kids, all of that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not having that. So I cooperated, and when I say cooperated, I told him what I had. You know what I mean? But when throughout that whole situation, you know, I got the paperwork, I got in jail and all that. So those characters that, you know, and it's funny, bro, because, you know, it's crazy. I got out of prison because I went to prison, and so I went to prison on that my prison charge in 2012, like 2 years after that. I went to prison. I was in prison for 7 years, and I got out. I'm at my son's football game, and I see him. It's crazy, bro. And I see him, bro, and I told my wife, I said, dude, there's that nigga right there, dog. She was like, where? I said, like, right there. She was like, baby, just chill. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not worried about it, man. I'm just in such a different headspace, such a different person, you know what I mean? Even him, when he looked at me, he looked like he saw a ghost.
How far removed are you from prison at this point?
How long have I been out?
No, from 2017. I'm assuming that's when it was you got out, right? And you see
I got out in 2019.
Okay, so 2012 to 2019 you're locked up.
Yeah.
2019 you're at your son's game. How long between when you get released to your son's game are you removed from prison at that time?
From get released to my son's game, I want to say it was inside a year, dog.
So are you still?
It was actually been months. No, see, the thing about institutionalized, man. See, a lot of people get the common misconception that, you know, you go to prison and you're institutionalized, and you get out, you don't know how to function. You're like, you know what I mean? It just wasn't like that for myself, dog. Prison wasn't like that for me. Don't get me wrong. I was in prison. You know, you have to protect yourself and be a part of things that you probably wouldn't necessarily be a part of on the streets. You know, it's all about racing there. Mm-hmm. But bro, I didn't get out institutionalized. You know what I mean? At least I don't think I did. There were certain things that maybe, you know, were a culture shock. You know what I mean? But and that was probably something that was an institutionalized habit, maybe, that I was constantly watching everybody. Yeah. Like I people watched a lot, like looking around, like, so that's how I spotted him in a crowd full of people. Like I'm constantly, you know, scanning where I'm out, and I spotted him. Boop. I was like, and I never forget a face. I don't know your name, which I know his name. I don't know. I usually forget names, but the faces I don't. And I spotted him, bro. And I remember he looked at me, and I don't know if he was like attempting to walk towards, but then my energy of just like, you know what I mean? He just was like not even trying to make eye contact after that. And then I saw him again. It was crazy because I felt like the universe was putting him in my reality, dog, just to see what I was gonna do.
Testing you.
Yeah, to see what type of man I am now. Are you gonna go back to your old habits and run up on this fool and drop him in front of your kids? Because I've done that hundreds of times in front of my kids growing up. jumping out the car in traffic, pop, 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 pop. You know what I mean? Jump back in the car with the kids. You know what I mean? So, you know, when I saw him, it just was like, you know, I thought I'd be pissed. I thought you know what? I was like, man, you know what's up. You know what type of person you are. You know what type of dude I am, homie. You know what I mean? When you already know when the junkies is around, everybody's 10 hut. That's just what it is. They 10 hut. I don't care where you are, who you are. When they see Smaqs, they see Ajax, they see Ruckus, they see Spines, they see Swift, they see all the junkies. Oh, they tucking their tail and they saluting for sure. You know what I mean?
Were those brothers? Were they in the dirt too? Because here's the thing.
When I say CI, I say confidential informant. And when I say confidential informant, you know, I don't want to spend too much more time on this subject, but you know what I mean? They're the ones that I'm sure they probably hear this because we're in the same circle. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sure you probably haven't had contact with these guys so long, but I've seen them out here. But you know, they were making controlled buys. That's what they were doing. Controlled buys. They would get money from the people and make buys from you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just one of those things, man. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know that about the hip hop scene out here. It still goes down. You know, when they raided my house and I'm sitting in my house, they ransacked my whole house. I got press kits, I got everything sitting out, you know what I mean? And these guys are in ski masks and I'm in handcuffs. And one of the guys, he's like, all I see is his eyes. He keeps looking at me, looking back. I said, "What's up, man? You good?" I mean, I'm on my handcuffs. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. Why, you good?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He stepped a little closer. He said, "Hey, man." Honest to God, he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to be real with you." He said, "This started off as an investigation, but I became a fan." He said, that's what he said, dog. I said, "What?" I said, "For real?"
He said, "I'm going to take this one."
Yeah, no, what I said, "Hey, man, go on and grab you a press kit." I said, "Hey, man, hey, everybody grab a press kit." I said, "Go take you a press kit. You can have it." He probably has it to this day. Damn. Yeah, bro. So he was like, "Yeah, man, we became a fan." I said, "I don't believe you, man." He said, "Man, we've been to a lot of your shows." I said, "No, you haven't." He was like, "Yeah, we just went to your," he said, "We went to your last show." He said, "Your last show, your wife wasn't there, huh?" Because my wife would usually always go. And I was like, damn, she didn't go. I was like, damn, they really was there.
That makes total sense. Of course they'd go to your show. They need to watch you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're on your ass.
Yeah, so they was watching. They was building the case. So I caught that case in 2010. I got out, you know, stayed out of trouble for a little bit. My brother ended up getting sick a few years later. You know, we're still doing the music, still doing shows out here, you know. We did a lot of big shows, you know what I mean? We opened up for the Jacka. Rest in peace to Jacka. We opened up for Keith.
Hold on. Can I bring up a certain situation with Jacka?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's talk about it. We was there.
I just want to know. I don't even think we should bring it up, but
we could. I mean, it's up to you. You know
what? I'm gonna bring it up, but if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. Yeah. At the Jacka show, was that y'all that shot up the Jacka show?
Nah.
Okay.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
All right.
It wasn't. And there's been that's good. But let's clarify that because there's been a lot of speculation that we were, because usually that ain't the first time at Bliss. It was at Bliss, and I don't know what they call it now. I think it's a restaurant now.
Yeah, it's a restaurant now.
Yeah,
so I think they had the pool.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah. So we
no, it was the Bay at the time.
Yeah, the Bay. Yeah. The Bay. And I think when we did a pool party there too, where we performed for AP9. Okay, but so the Jacka show, right? And there's been whispers that the junkies were the one who shot it up. Man, them fools are always fighting. It was one of those things. Man, you can't do nothing with them guys. That's why you can't book them for a show. It wasn't us, bro. But I'll never forget this because I went to the bathroom. And you know, we had the bangers on us, but we were like, wow, we're just chilling, you know what I mean? And I go to the bathroom and I walk in and this fool, he tucks his banger, dog. I see, and I feel like he was, you know, he was one of those ones that wanted me to see it. Yeah. You know, so he like, you know, put it in his pants. And I was like, all right, cool, nigga, I'll keep that in mind. In my head, I'm thinking, all right, cool, you got a strap, all right, whatever. You know, we holding to it, it's all good. So I slide up out there and I remember Jacka hit the stage. We performed. We chilled for a little bit, then Jacka hit the stage. And we was on the side. We was like in the VIP. And that dude that I saw in the bathroom, bro, he was like standing next to me. And I was like, damn, okay, nigga, we chilling. It's slumping. Jacka's going off. And all you hear is, ta, 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 ta.
Right at the edge of the stairs.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, damn. I'm like looking at my wife. I'm like, yeah, this shit is live because I'm thinking those gunshots
was a song.
was part of the song. She pulls me down. She hits the ground. She's like, baby, get down. They really shooting. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah.
So I get down. I look up, and it's old boy. It's old boy.
Yeah.
He's letting them have it, and I'm thinking to myself, come on, man. Like, what?
Yeah.
You in here, like, we in here doing this fool performing, like, you in here shooting in the air? Like, for what?
Yeah, dog.
You know what I mean? For what? And I remember Jacka, man. Rest in peace to the Jacka. Real solid, real thug, real one, homie.
Yo.
Real grimy one. He didn't stop performing.
Nah.
He ducked down, top, got up after it stopped, and just was like, man, Salt Lake City is live.
Yo.
Okay, Salt Lake City, y'all really about that. And then they had to end it, obviously.
Yeah.
But he was ready to keep next song.
The annoying part of that show was there was a snowstorm outside.
Yeah,
and
for
I was like,
sure,
fuck, man, this
bro.
shit in. I gotta go home in this damn snow.
It's crazy, man.
Bro, that night was, and I tell people about that story, and a lot of people back then, they know about it.
Yeah.
But they don't know, people now don't know about that. And so I'm telling people, like, nah, like, they shot up the damn thing.
Yeah, they did.
And I swear it was a revolver because I didn't see no
No, it
casings.
was. No. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I remember the dude in the bathroom with the banger. It wasn't a revolver. And yeah, bro. I just to me it was just like that was just such a time where it was like, bro, in the music scene. I don't know how the underground music scene is now. I don't really step into those spaces anymore. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Yeah. So it's like I know back then, bro. It was fun, man. It was really, really fun. We, stuff like that. Even stuff like that was like, hell yeah, okay, Salt Lake, you guys about that right now.
It was a little excitement. You
Absolutely,
know what I
man.
mean? When Jared Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
He I don't know if he was even in town for that show because he had me drive Jacka to the airport the next day, and so I'm spending the whole next day with Jack, and it was not knowing that we're gonna be losing Jack soon.
Yeah, bro.
And
it's
so
crazy.
I'm like, damn, like I'm sitting here with Jack and I'm talking to him about like life shit, and I'm like, damn, and then he passes away. I'm like, man, like it's weird the way the universe works.
I know, bro. It's crazy because he was a smart man, bro. That man was intelligent, bro, and you could just hear it in his music, man. There's songs that I listen to today. It's just like, man, it's just like, bro, you can hear him pouring himself into his music, into his craft, you know what I mean? And it sucks that, he got took, bro. It really did. I feel like he would have been doing, he was the Mozzie of our day. He was the Mozzie. He was that one. He was one of those, you know what I mean? So,
well, all those, I mean, I call the Bay our cousins, right?
Absolutely.
Especially during that time. I mean, Jay Stalin, we had, I mean, Mac Dre himself.
Ryder J. Clyde, all of them would come out here. Big hyphy movement out here. Keek the Sneak. When we did the Keek the Sneak teasers in Ogden, you know what I mean? A lot of them made their ways out. AP9. A lot of them Bay ones. Them Bay boys came out here a lot.
Which was dope. So you did, I think it was a total of six years?
No,
at that time, so 12 to...
Almost 7. Yeah, almost 7.
Okay, so during that time, was that was that your latest time that you were incarcerated?
Yeah, that was the first prison term and last.
Okay.
So 2012 was the last time I caught a case. I caught a case out here, and it was it's an aggravated robbery case. I didn't go in to rob a place, but I had a gun on me, and I tried to commit a crime, and an off-duty. I want to say he was an off-duty officer or loss prevention or something, but he tried to stop me. And you know what I mean? I pulled my gun out on him, turned a simple petty crime into an aggravated robbery charge, bro. So
because you had
because I had the gun on me and I laid him down, and you know what I mean? And so it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, they put me away for a while. I almost didn't know when I was gonna come home.
How was that though? Take me through like that day of when it happened.
Yeah.
Were you on like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually coming down, dog.
Yep, and just like that, if you want all the uncut, unedited, unfiltered, unrestricted content, you gotta head on over to the Patreon. Patreon.com/DreRocka, DRERAWKA.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hos.
And this is host Beefy,
Listen to the Beans and Rice podcast.
exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
No pukesters helping me to the left, and no pukesters helping me to the right. Didn't need them then, don't need them now.
You are the ex-champion opponent.
Now this is the way, Tony and David, that you do the figure 4 leg lock.
You love wrestling,
Do you believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest entertainer of all time?
or maybe that Shawn Michaels is the sexiest man alive.
Or did you have a thing for Sonny from the years of 1994 to 1996 like I did?
Did you know Yokozuna isn't even Japanese?
If you could count the number of dimples on Rikishi's ass, this podcast is for you.
Follow us, the Figure 4 Podcast on Instagram, at Figure4 Podcast. And check us out on YouTube.
Do it.
Tell your punk ass friends about us.
Yeah.
You should have pulled your daughter. I'm white.
Yeah, you know what? Straight up. You know what I mean? And that's something that's a real thing, man. That's why I'm really conscious. I don't focus on it like in my family, my reality, but I make sure they're conscious of it.
It's a sucky reality.
It is.
But it's something that will never change,
Absolutely
unfortunately,
not.
because of where this whole nation was built, and how it
Absolutely,
was built.
bro. Yeah.
It's we just seen it with Donald Trump pardoning all those people that rioted the state capitol.
Yeah, the state capitol.
Of the mega power of the world.
Absolutely, bro.
Ain't that crazy?
It is. It's crazy. There's just so much to the stage, right? The stage that we're all, watching. Whether it's the government, whether it's the, what the elections or all stuff like that, the January 6th insurrection is what they call it. You know what I mean? I'm sure there was some guys that probably deserved to be in there a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But we're in a country where you could protest. You could protest peacefully. You know what I mean? And there's a fine line between peaceful and not peaceful. You know what I mean? So, getting up in there probably wasn't, and I'm not the type of person to just focus on stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that stuff happened, it happened, and him pardoning them, I'm sure what he's doing is he's making good on a bunch of promises that he's made to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, if I was one of them, I would want to pardon too.
Absolutely, you better pardon me. And like I'm saying, with the peaceful protesting, like we have the right to peaceful protest. You know what I mean? And if we're breaking into buildings and stuff like that, obviously that's not good. But I think he was saying, one person got hurt, and that was hurt from a cop or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's just wild, bro. But
did you ever have a chance to talk to the security guard?
No, bro. What's funny, man, is I wish I did. Man, because I if this man is out there, I'd wanna apologize to him, because I know I scared him. You know what I mean? Because he was in fear for his life. You know what I mean? He really was, and that's not a good feeling, man. But like I said, I was dealing with stuff that that he didn't know about. You know what I mean? But that doesn't excuse my actions. But in no way, shape, or form was my motive to go in there and rob this man or to kill this man. Absolutely not. A lot of people don't know this, but and I don't think I've ever said it on on air, but my gun was empty and it didn't have bullets in it. And the reason why it didn't have bullets in it was because my wife took all the bullets out. She took them and she hid them because she already knew what I was doing. She was like, "Yeah, you're not leaving this house. We're not leaving this with your gun and bullets in it." So she hid my bullets. We got into a big old argument about it because I was like, "Man, where are my bullets? Give me my bullets. I'm finna go out there. You don't know what I'm gonna deal with, but you're gonna send me out there with an empty gun." So I just did. But anyways, they didn't.
Your wife maybe saved you 30 years.
Yeah, she did, bro. And I've had a lot of time to reflect on it, because that situation could have went way south. You know what I mean?
You're not in the right state of mind.
Absolutely not. I could have blew this man away, and it would have been easy, honestly. You know what I mean? Just the state of mind that I was in, the things that I was doing around that time. It wouldn't have been a far-fetched thing for me to blow him away. You know what I mean? And it's just, You know, I don't talk about it, but I tried to say it at court. Like, hey, man, I didn't have bullets. There was no bullets because they didn't find me with the gun, though. They didn't find me with it. I got rid of it by the time they found me. You know what I mean? And but by then it was already too late. They're like, yeah, but you got because they confiscated one of the cars I was in. They were like, yeah, we got live rounds in there. We got bulletproof vests. We got 5 different fucking social securities and IDs. So yeah, you know what you was doing. So it was just like, man, I was just like, all right, cool. They caught me dead to rights. You know,
wasn't there camera in Kmart?
So there's cameras, and I think they got cameras of me going towards the back in the office. I don't believe there was cameras in the offices back there.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I don't think so. But
hey, rest in peace to Kmart.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. That was, man, a lot of my family lived off Kmart, man.
Blue light special.
Yeah, they couldn't make it. They couldn't make it through, dog. So I was just like, man.
When you talk about you felt the time was a little bit more harsh, I instantly put myself in that guy's shoes.
Yeah.
Or it's like, here I am. I don't know what this guy's gonna do. I don't know the gun's fake or empty.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if that guy, what kind of PTSD that guy got from that moment.
And that's what I'm saying, man. I can only imagine, bro, because you know that was a life-threatening situation to that man. You know what I mean? It was. I'm sure his life flashed before his eyes, and I can literally watch it in my mind right now of the state he was in and what he did, what I did. You know what I mean? When that happened, and I thought about it. You know, like, man, bro, I feel bad. You know what I mean? But I'd apologize to that man. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't excuse what I did, and I wouldn't expect him to accept my apology. But I would tell him, man, I apologize, man, for being in the state that I was and scaring you in your life like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's all I really can do. But like I said, I did my time. You know, I rehabilitated myself. Did you
play basketball while you were in there? Did you hoop?
I played ball. You know what I mean? I hooped. You know what I mean? I'm not like a.
Did you ever hoop with a guy named Marty?
Marty, you talking about Marty? Like Marty been in there for like 30 years, Marty?
Puerto Rican Marty?
Oh, man.
Did you ever hoop with him and V?
V? What? Why don't
Kent Monfaleo?
Oh, Kent. No, I wasn't in there with Kent.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't in there with Kent. What year was Kent in there?
I think he might have got out 17, I think.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I was in there with Kent. I may have seen him around. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Marty and Kent talk about how they ran the basketball court. How
Okay, we're thinking about a different Marty then, because I'm thinking about there's a Marty in prison that's been in there for like 30 years, bro.
The Marty I know, he was on the show. He did 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did 25. It was a murder charge, but he was telling me the story about how he was a good basketball player. So I'm trying to cross-reference and be like, was he good?
Yeah. Well, you ask Marty if he knows the other Marty. and tell him who the other Marty is, bro. He gonna laugh for sure, man.
So with obviously you're out now. You've changed your life.
Yeah.
You're on a positive note now.
Absolutely.
You're helping out with reform. You're doing these things. What exactly are you helping out with guys incarcerated? So with the guys in incarceration, right? While I was incarcerated, bro, I got my high school diploma. I got my education in prison. I got a culinary arts degree from Davis Tech. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure, man. So I'm actually the director of health and nutrition at a rehab out here. It's a private rehab called the Renaissance Ranch. So I train these men and I put their menus together. But I don't go in there to they don't pay me to go in there. You know what I mean? My thing is like my experience in incarceration, you always see the recidivism rate firsthand, right? And when I say recidivism rate, for the guys and people that don't know, recidivism is the revolving door of inmates, people who go out and come back in, go out, come back in, go out, come back in, due to addiction, due to crime, due to poverty, due to whatever situations that they're ailing from, right? And they don't know what it looks like, bro. They really don't know what it looks like to have someone who's suffered from incarceration, who's actually sat in a prison with them, to get out, excel in life, excel in the business world, excel in your occupation or career, whatever it is, and to be a successful father, to be a successful partner, and to come from that life, to really, really come from that life, and apply that growth and become the highest version of yourself. And still walk and talk like who you've always been, but the core and your values and your purpose has leveled up, right?
So my thing is I go in there and I show them, you know what I mean? I go in there and I do motivational speaking for them. And I also play that video, my prison video, because my prison video is a big part of my presentation, because I talk about how I was incarcerated. I talk about what I did. So going into the prison, my main purpose of what I do is I go in there and I show them like, hey, bro, I was there with you. This is what it looks like. It could be done, because they don't know what it looks like. They think it looks like some foreign being, some foreign person, some foreign. My style hasn't changed. You know what I mean? I still like to look good, feel good. I still got an urban vibe to myself, but I'm an elevated version of that person that I once was. You know what I mean? And I'm using my story, the story of addiction, the story of incarceration, and using the steps that I took to push myself out and become successful, and push it to these guys and tell them, this is what I did. You sitting in prison, don't just sit in here and get high. Don't just sit in here and be a part of the clown show. Be a yes sir a toy soldier for some gang or whatever it is, bro. You're gonna be let out of this place one day. If you want to do something different in life for your wife, for your kids, for your partners, you gotta lay the necessary building blocks to become that man that you want to be. You know, one thing that I do with them, I say, man, I want you guys to do something for me, and it's usually like about 100 men. I say, I want you guys to close your eyes for me. That alone. Around a bunch of men closing your eyes, you're in prison, everybody wants to be tough. That's already a severe ask, right? Close your eyes for me. And they close their eyes. And I tell them, I want you guys to do this. I want you guys to envision the man that you want to be. I want you to envision the father you want to be. Envision the partner that you want to be. I want you to imagine the life that you want to live from addiction, far from addiction. Feel his strength. Feel the energy that man exudes when he steps in the room, because he can look you in the eye, because his kids look up to him. He holds purpose. He holds status. He holds those positions in his reality. Imagine how that man is. Feel how he walks. Feel how he talks, right? And the reason why I do that, because that's what I did when I was in prison. I get that question a lot. They ask me, Smaqs, how did you do it? How did you become this person? I said, you know how I did it? While everybody else was asleep in their cells. You know what I was doing? I'd lay in my bunk. I'd look up at my family that was of a picture of my family taped under the bunk, and I'd look at them and I'd close my eyes and I'd imagine the father that I wanted to be. I'd imagine the husband that I wanted to be, the son that I wanted to be, the uncle that I wanted to be. I imagine the man that I knew that I needed to be for my reality. And a lot of times these men can't become that man because they can't see him. All they know is gang violence. All they know is addiction. All they know is incarceration. So that's the only perception of themselves that they have. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I do that, that's me opening up their minds to the manifestation of envisioning the man you want to be. Because I did it. Like I said, I did it in my cell, dog. I envisioned the man I actually envisioned myself coming back into the prison to speak with these men. And I've far exceeded everything that I've envisioned while incarcerated. You know what I mean? And it's like, so, because I get a question a lot too, where it's like, I get a lot of men. They're like, man, how'd you do it? How did they let you back into the prison, right? Because in the state of Utah, they have a bill in the legislation, which is a law that you can't come back into the prisons until you've been off parole for at least 10 years. Yeah, which is the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. So, and that law actually changed. They changed that bill last year. I want to say last year, and I like to feel like I was a big part of it, because I was the first person to be let back into the prison that wasn't off parole that long, right? And they actually changed it to 5 years. They dropped it down. They minimized it to 5 years, which is 5 years. 5 years is okay, right? I mean, obviously you got to be in a good headspace and build the right energy to get back into prison. I personally believe that, right? So how I did it is, I went to a meeting with my Usos. They used to have a meeting called Neighborhood, New Beginnings Rendering Hopeful Decisions. My boy Lynn, he owns the Hive Barbershop. Shout out to Lynn and the boys over there. But they used to hold a group over there of formerly incarcerated men, and they would just talk about ways and ways to help each other, help guys that are coming out of prison, offer them resources, pointing them in the right direction. You know, like with Day One, the Day One guys, Solo and the homies they're with Day One. There are another ones that are doing a lot of good work in the prison community. The guys that are coming out from incarceration and with the youth. Michael Ulibarri, he's another one that's killing out there. Seth, a lot of guys are doing it, right? So. When what was you talking about?
So you're talking about going back in. How did you go back in?
Oh yeah, so how did I go back in? That's right. So I ended up going to the neighborhood meeting, and Brian Red was there. He's the head of the Utah Department of Corrections. Shout out to the new Utah Department, Glenn Mills, Brian Red. All these guys are doing great strides in changing the culture of prisons from being a place to house inmates and changing it into a place to rehabilitate men. And you know, I met up with him. I got his email. I ended up reaching out to him. I sent him an email. I said, "Hey man, I met you at so and so's meeting." I said, and I sent him my video. I said, I really want to get into be able to talk to you. And dude, I got a response back. I said like a week later, and he said he saw the video. He said, "Man, come to the administration building and we'll talk." So I went and met with Brian Red, who's the head of the Utah Department of Corrections, Glenn Mills, Maria Shuri, Rebecca, I think it's Rebecca Brown, and these are all the people who run the Utah State Prison, all the jails, all the prisons that house prison inmates. Right, I got in front of them and I did what I would do, which is like a motivational speak in front of them at a board table. It was like I was trying to land a record deal. You know what I mean? So it was just us. We're in the conference room, and I actually got pictures of it. I took some videos of it, but and I did this talk where I talked about, you know, what do you see when you look at me? You know what I mean? Like what is it that you see? And I talked about how, you know, these men, we need to look at them like men. We need to look at them like, you know, of course they got crimes, right? We're going to adjust accordingly, but we need to be able to, if we're going to rehabilitate them, we got to stop looking at them like they're just some pieces of crap. And dude, at the end of the talk, man, there was some of the women were crying. They just had tears in their eyes, and they're just like, and I remember Glenn Mills, which is I think he's the head of the PR, I want to say communications, but great man, bro. He used to be on the news. Glenn Mills. Remember Glenn Mills?
Yeah.
He used to be on the news, but he works for Utah State Prison now. But he was like, Ricky, what do you want to do? I said, man, I want to get into the prison. I said, I know you have to be. He said, how long you been off parole? I said, I want to say like a year, 2 years. I said, I know that's gonna stop it, but eventually, he's like, no, we're gonna get you in there. And then it's been history ever since. I go in there all the time. I open the door for a lot of other guys to go in there. Like Day One goes in there on a regular basis now. Pictar goes in there on a regular basis. They got a group in there called they got a building in there called Solid, which is a inmate rehabilitation group for men that are taught, and it's all by themselves, by the inmates. So it's a good thing, man. So
the culture is changing. Obviously,
absolutely.
There's a new prison. It sounds like there's a whole new era of incarceration in Utah.
Absolutely.
Changing. Where do you see this thing going in the next 5 years? Do you want to what do you see yourself doing, and what do you want to be at?
I honestly, and I had this question before, and I'm at that point where I'm thinking about it now too. And I'd like to get into all the prisons in the United States. I'd like to travel to all the different prisons and get in there and do the same thing of what I do in my state, in our state, because I'm trying to build that relationship and that gap between the inmate and the man that they could emerge, right? Mm-hmm. To just bridge that gap and show them that pathway of what it looks like. And dude, we're affecting a lot of lives, man. There's a lot of men in there that I get feedback from. They tell me all the time, they're like, man, when we see you talk, I know I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it. And that's all you need. Mm-hmm. And out of 100 men, if 5 of them took what I told them and practiced it in their life, that's not just affecting them. That's affecting their bloodline for a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's gonna affect their kids. That's gonna affect their kids. My kids, my sons, they're not gonna have to deal with the incarceration. They're not gonna have to deal with those types of things. You know what I mean? Because I'm a pillar in my family and I'm out there with them, you know, showing them the right way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at. I want to get into the prisons. I want to get into the spaces where, You know, a lot of guys talk to, you know, successful people. They want to talk to business owners. They want to talk to, you know, empowerment groups. Like, dude, I want to talk to the people that nobody wants to talk to. Nobody wants to go in there and talk to inmates. Nobody wants to go talk to what they consider the scum of society, right? Those are the guys I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to someone that's already figured it out. No, I don't. I want to get in front of the ones that are struggling and the ones that I know where I came from. I've suffered from addiction. I've suffered from poverty. You know what I mean? I know how it feels, right? So I want to get in front of those spaces, bro. That's kind of where I want to. And, you know, I'm taking the necessary steps to see where I can get myself in those spaces, right? You know, I don't just do talks in the prison. I just recently did, I spoke in the prison, but it was for employers. It was about 150 employers, business owners who own businesses, and they're on the fence of whether or not that they want to hire convicted felons. So I went in there and I talked to them about judging a book without knowing a person. Everybody has a story, you know what I mean? And that's what I did. I said, what do you guys see when you guys look at me? What do you see when you look at me? Raise your hand, anybody. Like, oh man, I see a confident man. I see muscles. I see a strong man. I see, you know, give me all these positive things. I said, now I want you to do something for me. I want you to imagine me in a prison jumpsuit. What does that look like to you now? Because I was once in a prison jumpsuit. I was that inmate. And all those positive things that you just saw when you looked at me, does that change the perception of what you have of me? Because a lot of times that's what we deal with as felons, as formerly incarcerated men. We got that stigma. We got formerly addicted men. We got that stigma on us that these doors are being closed. Possible opportunities are being closed because of our past. You know what I mean? So my thing is, you know, I get in front of them and I speak to them and I want them to know that, dude, I'm more equipped to deal with this life than someone who hasn't suffered from incarceration or suffered from addiction. I know how deep down I can go and pull myself out, right? And I just talk about the things that I've accomplished and things that I've done. And I'll never forget, because after, a lady came up to me. No, she raised her hand. And she said, no. Actually, yeah, she came up to me after, while we were doing the mixture. She came up after and she said, man, I just really want to thank you for telling me your story. You have such a great story. You have such a great positive light. And I just want you to know that I've been on the fence about hiring convicted felons. And because of you, she said, because of you, I'm going to keep 3 convicted felons on my payroll at all times. We're going to hire convicted felons. And I also came up with the, you know, after talking with Brian Red and talking with some of the big wigs, and I talked about, you know, it'd be good to how they're like, how could, because there was a time where they talked about how we can better further what we're all trying to do. And I said, why not make like a website where employers can access this website and see inmates that obviously, you know, get signed on to the website, and it talks about the accolades they collected, talks about what they're doing in prison, talks about how many write-ups they have, talks about, because obviously you're not just going to hire a fuck-up.
Yeah.
Right? So this will give them access to inmates who are incarcerated, who are getting an education, who are looking to become a better man, and they could actually see what they're doing and then make that choice. Like, dude, I'd hire this man.
Yeah.
So when they get out, they have that already set up.
What if we could take it a step further and you can do like quarterly interviews for those people inside?
Absolutely.
And then for the job that you're creating, how about we create a cool bridge where they can already get the on-the-job training while they're incarcerated. And see, a lot of guys do. They offer a lot to train. Like culinary arts was one of them. You can do welding in there. You can get you can do business management. There's a few that you can do. You can actually go to college while in prison. People don't understand that. And a lot of times, because you're incarcerated and because you're in incarceration, you fall on the lines where you don't have to pay the full amount. You know what I mean? So yeah. So dude, that's kind of what I did. I did all I could to become better, and I got out, and I've been out maybe going on 6 years, and you just missed the pandemic in there. Huh?
Yeah. No. Right when I got out in 2019, it happened. Yeah, it happened in 2019, bro. And that was crazy, bro. Did you get the vaccine?
No.
Yeah, good for you, bro.
No.
I'll never forget this, dude. We were like, when it happened, right? And it was all on the news. Oh, you guys got there's a pandemic. We're staying in the houses. You know what I mean? And the whole vax thing was going on. And my wife was like, you know, we have kids, so she's always like, damn, should we get the kids? Should we get them vaccinated, baby? I don't know. We were kind of on the fence about it, and then after us talking about it, you know, I was like, man, let's let the crash dummies go first. I said, let's let the crash dummies go first, and then we gonna see. And she was like, yeah, let's see what they got going on, because you know we read a lot, so we know a lot about, like, you know, past vaccination things and how they've affected, you know, brown people. Yep. You know what I mean, dog? And it's just, I think it was the Tuskegee experiment where they talked about, you know, they took a bunch of I want to say they were Puerto Ricans, but they're African Americans, Afro Latinos, or it might have been African American. And you know, they're like, hey, we're gonna shoot you guys with this vaccination. They told them it was I forgot what they told them it was, but it was actually, I think it was gonorrhea. Oh, syphilis.
Yeah.
They shot him with syphilis, bro. So those things like that, like, dude, it kind of creates a distrust that I have. Like in prison, bro, they shoot you with needles every year, and every time they try to shoot me, I say, no, I'm good. And they would say it's the flu shot. Yeah. We're gonna give you the flu shot. Like, nah, I'm good. I don't know who you are. You ain't finna stick that needle in me. So I've gotten 0 shots, 0 vaccinations from anywhere really. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's because of that, bro. And then when you look at it, it's like, see what I mean? There's people suffering from taking that vaccination, bro. It's just,
yeah, there's a lot of unknown there, and it's, you know, I think everybody needs to make their decision for themselves. Yeah, and just be careful. You know what I mean? But nah, Smaqs, man, we did an hour and a half, brother.
Yeah, we blew right through that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Easy,
no, there's
easy.
a lot. We need a part 2.
Absolutely, dog.
But now, do you want to plug your social media?
Yeah, man. So my Instagram is Smaqs SMAQS.MAFIA.USO. And I'm just trying to build my Instagram right now. On TikTok, I got about 25,000 followers, so I'm trying to build that too. And my TikTok is Smaqs SMAQS.Mafioso, which is MAFIAUSO. So those are my handles, man. Plug in. I'm on. And for any companies out there that are looking for me to come talk, any rehab centers or anything like that, you can also look me up on LinkedIn. I got my LinkedIn popping too, Ricky Zazueta, Zazueta. Just reach out. You know what I mean? I'll come to your rehab and motivate your men. I'll come to your job and motivate anybody. And you know what I mean? That's just kind of one of the spaces I want to be. Or even if it's a jail. Like, I've been asked to come speak at numerous jails. I'm going to go in Salt Lake County Jail too. So yeah, bro, I appreciate you having me, man.
Of course. Have you done anything with the ladies yet?
With the what?
The ladies?
Oh man, bro, I have, bro. Okay. So I went in there, man, and just give you a quick thing is just, man, bro, that's probably one of the, out of all the speaks and events that I've done, the women was probably the most heartfelt one that I've done. You know what I mean? Because you go into prison, men feel like they got to be tough all the time. So as I'm talking, I could see in the men's eyes, I could see some of them clicking. I could see some of them fighting it. But with the women, there wasn't a dry eye in the room, bro. And I felt the energy, dog. They were just open and ready to just get out and just do good. You know what I mean? So that was a big difference. Excuse me.
Awesome, Smaqs. Well, definitely go follow him. Go run up his TikTok because he still has it on his phone. For all you slum dogs out there selling $10,000 phones with TikTok on it.
Yep.
I hate you bastards.
Hey, and one more thing. So if anybody's interested in listening to Adrenaline Junkies old music, bro, we still got our music online. If you go to ReverbNation.com and just type in Junkies Music with a K, MUSIK. Check it out, bro. Take a trip back memory lane.
He's reformed, but he's going back to his old ways listening.
Yeah, absolutely. We just listening.
All right. Make sure you go and subscribe to the Patreon. I think a little portion of this, the patrons are going to get it first. So if you want this type of content first, you got to go on to patreon.com/DreRawka, DRERAWKA. Remember, you can always buy a shirt. You can buy a hoodie. allrock.com, ALLRAWK.com. But as always, if you want to just share, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about this. Maybe you have a friend that was incarcerated and maybe you can help them out with Smaqs' story here. Yep. Share it to them. All right? It's free to show love. Y'all have the day you deserve and protect your light. We're out. Peace. My son, he's up at primaries right now. And I was like, as soon as I left, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be snowing hella hard up here on this mountain. So, yeah.
finna be coming down.
Yeah, you bend that back up too. There you go. Boom.
Let's go.
Feel good about it?
Yeah, we do. Let's just bring him a little bit down.
Yeah. Do your thing.
We'll adjust this bad boy.
There you go. Can you hear yourself in the headphones?
I can. I hear it nice and crisp.
All right, cool. If it goes out, I gotta get a new replacement. But if they go out, you can just take them off.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they're finicky. I got an 11 o'clock that might be coming in as like while we're still recording. So if they come in,
okay,
they'll just be hanging out over there.
For sure.
Cool. You feel good?
I do.
All right, man.
I've been trying to get in and tapping with you, man.
Yeah.
I know you a busy man, dog. So I was just like, fuck.
Well, here we go. Let's do it.